This is Retro FilmWise, where I will be tackling movies of the past.
Chum, I just saw the most amazing thing in my entire life. First, you gotta do the truffle shuffle. Come on. Do it. Come on. Do it. Cut it out, Mo.
Hey everyone! So this is Retro FilmWise, where now in Retro FilmWise I will be reviewing movies from the past. And in FilmWise, that's where I will be reviewing movies from the current time when they come out of theaters. Now, back at that time, I actually did put two FilmWises where there were actually movies from the past, but this time I want to be more straight with it and to divide it between what movies I will be reviewing from the past and what I will be reviewing from the current generation. Okay, so Goonies, which is directed by Richard Donner, the same director of the first Superman movie, and also producer Steven Spielberg had his hands on this film as well. When he produces movies, he really does, try to do his best of trying to make sure that the film stays as good as possible. There are some times where he kind of go for other stuff that isn't that good, like he was one of the producers of the current Transformers, the first Transformers movie. But enough of that. Let's get to Goonies. Okay, the story of Goonies is about a team who call themselves the Goonies. Well, this particular team finds out that their hometown is going to be torn down, and the idea is because the father, one of the fathers of the Goonies, has to pay a debt, which causes the whole town to be self-destruct. He's kind of the mayor of the town. So the idea is when they find a treasure map to a hidden treasure of One-Eye Willie. So what happens is that the Goonies go on this great adventure trying to find One-Eye Willie's treasure with another pair of team that comes later in the film. And it's a great adventure. I mean, a freaking great adventure. Now, what are good things about this movie? I really do like. It kind of has that kind of Steven Spielberg point of a movie. Even though the movie's directed by Richard Donner, there are a lot of Steven Spielberg's, things that you see in his movies, like a lot of elements that you see in his films, the adventure, the wonderful characters, the suspense, and the good humor in the film. This movie has a lot of that. I mean, this is like a treasure hunt where you're with this team and they're trying to get through like passages, escape from booby traps, make booby traps, and it's just incredible. Now, the one thing I do find strange, well, it wasn't strange back then, but like it is strange now. The movie is rated PG, meaning that obviously everyone can see the movie. But back in the day, back in the 80s, a lot of movies that were PG were very hardcore back then. I mean, what I do mean is that there's a lot of innuendos and a lot of swearing. I mean, this movie actually has a lot of swearing, because back then when PG was the rating, it's not that only everyone can see it, but like only like a good amount of adults and teenagers can see this movie, because kids movies back in the day were like real serious. Like they either have a lot of swearing, or they or they just have very disgusting scenes. This was actually a debate between that when the movie Gremlins came out, which is also produced by Steven Spielberg. That changed everything when Steven Spielberg suggested the PG-13 rating, which we have now. So obviously, this movie came way before Gremlins, and so understandably, this was at the time when kids' movies were freaking hardcore, and there was like no rules to it. I mean, they could put as a little bit as much as they can, just little dabbles of kind of adult humor in it, which is very good in the movie, but nowadays it's more like, you know, censored a lot. Really censored now, but back then in the day it was really hardcore. But what I can find in this movie is that there's also other good things, like the characters in the movie are amazing. Like they're very memorable characters. The only thing I can't, like, there's a lot of them, so I can't remember a lot of their names. One of their names was Mikey, and he had a brother. There's also that Asian kid from Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I forget what his name. Oh yeah, his name was Data. Data? From Star Trek? No. But also what this movie has is that it has some old elements to main characters in kids movies. There's the confident leader, there's the genius, there's the cool kid, and there's the fat kid. So it literally has all the old elements from back in the 80s of kids movies, but still even for that, it still is a very great movie because it has a well done pacing, and it does a well done job. Now let me get to the bad aspects or nitpicks. I don't really have too much to say about like bad stuff about this movie at all, because I actually am a kind of a fan of Steven Spielberg. I've liked a lot of his movies. Some movies I really wasn't that, you know, I didn't like that much, like Lincoln, I didn't like it that much. But there's a lot of great Steven Spielberg movies that I do like. And I also like how he produces movies too. Like he produced Who Framed Roger Rabbit, he produced Back to the Future, he produced one of my favorite holiday movies, The Polar Express. It's like he's done a lot of stuff, and the only thing that I don't like is that the villains, they are very memorable villains, but there really isn't enough screen time of them, and they just feel like one-dimensional villains. There really isn't that much to them, and I felt that some of the suspense in the movie is a little lacking. Like when a character's in trouble, or like they're almost leading to their death, there's kind of this point where you feel like obviously they're going to get out of it. Like, you don't want that. You want to be surprised to see, are they going to get out of this? But no, there are some points where it's obvious that he's going to make it out, because there's just this obvious thing in the background that obviously they're not going to die. They're going to get out of here. But still, there's still a lot of good things. There's actually one good thing I like to say is that I saw the poster for this movie. The poster was drawn by Drew Struzan, and it's an amazing poster. The only thing that's lacking is that poster, like the picture in the poster, that does not happen in the movie. Just a heads up, that screenshot that is the poster of the film does not happen in the movie. Well, it's just because when you see posters, there are some elements like you feel like is going to happen in the movie, but it's not in the movie. That scene never happens. But still, like, it's an amazing poster. I say look it up. I say check it out because it looks great. So my final verdict of this movie, it's a fantastic Richard Donner film. And speaking of that, there's a little bit of a hint of how he really loved that he directed Superman. There's a little bit of a Superman reference in that movie, so it's kind of pushing it really, just to say, like, saying, yeah, you directed Superman, okay, like, get on with the movie. but still, it's there, you know, because a lot of directors want to appreciate their old work, so they kind of put a little bit of an Easter egg there of what they did in the past. But you know, I do like some of that, but sometimes it's like in films, it's like in your face, and I don't like that when they do that. But okay, back to my final verdict. I give The Goonies an A because it is an amazing adventure. It's a great film, and I do think you need to pick this up. I mean, watch it on Blu-ray, get a big screen, and probably get a big surround system because it's a great movie to look at. It's a great movie to listen to. It's definitely one of the greatest movies ever made. Okay, Black Belt Dragon signing out, and I will be seeing you on my next FilmWise.
Dad.